Hello everyone, and thanks for tuning in to Exploring the Natural World. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you do, please hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos here on Exploring the Natural World. So for today's video, we're going to take a look at shooting 4K video with the Canon R3 body. But before I get into that, I just want to go through the whole rig here that you're seeing, talk a little bit about that, and then we'll take a look at some footage shot with the Canon R3. So, obviously the Canon R3 body here, mirrorless body. I've got a Canon 1.4 teleconverter, Canon 600mm version 3 lens. I've got a Sennheiser shotgun microphone here with a windscreen. Very important, you have to have a windscreen if you're going to be shooting video. Any little wind that you're going to have, if you don't have a windscreen, it's just going to distort the audio track on your video, so absolutely have to have a good windscreen. Also have this older Wimberley flash bracket arm that I've kind of customized to mount my shotgun mic, and that works really well. And I've got it sitting on top of a Sackler fluid head. This is an older Sackler head, but the nice thing about a fluid head for shooting video is, well, a couple things. First of all, you've got a nice platform for it to sit on, your rig to sit on, which is very important. And the fact that it's a fluid head, if you're doing any sort of panning at all, that works really well, and the drag is such that it works much better than any sort of gimbal head you're going to have. You can shoot video from a gimbal head, but it's not going to be nearly as stable and look nearly as good as if you use a fluid head of some kind. That's all sitting on top of a Gitzo tripod, and then most importantly, I guess, and the thing that really kind of stands out for people when they see this rig for the first time is this custom sled that I had made. So for this custom sled, there was a whole thought process as to what this was going to look like and what the functionality of it was going to be. And so basically you've got 3 points of contact. That's the important thing here. On the back part near the body, there's this adjustable piece here that touches the back part of the plate, and so that gives support on the body itself. Then you've got the foot itself that's mounted on the center post here. And then up front, where the lens is, not the hood, but where the front part of the lens is, there's this adjustable piece here as well. So with those 3 points of contact, it makes it very stable. And for shooting video, that's the important thing. The more stable your setup is, ultimately probably the better your footage is going to look. Because any wind or any jarring or movement of any kind, if it's not fluid and not smooth and not stable, the footage is going to be a little bouncy, a little shaky. It's not going to look as good. So that's the thought process behind this particular rig. It is heavy, that's the downside of it, but hopefully most locations that I go to, I don't have to walk very far with it, or I can use my Echo Beach rolly cart. You can check that video out as well. On to shooting the 4K video. So I made the switch to mirrorless late last year. I have the Canon R3 with the vertical grip as well, and that works really well. Nice setup. No longer shooting DSLRs, all mirrorless. However, I was waiting very patiently to get the Canon R3, the Pro body. I got that big difference in terms of the quality for the photos that I shoot, for the raw files as far as that's concerned. The video, I think, between the Canon R5 and R3 is probably very, very similar, if not equal. But because I'm shooting almost exclusively now with the R3, I did want to do some test shooting 4K video, which we're going to look at here in a minute. And I'll just say this in terms of my recording of video now moving forward, and actually going back to probably middle of last year, maybe even a little bit before that, basically shooting everything 4K now. I was kind of going back and forth there for a while, shooting some footage high def and some 4K. Everything's 4K, and I think if you're shooting video footage of birds or wildlife, I think you want everything 4K. And in fact, any of the projects that I get contacted for more recently, and including a project very recently for the Massachusetts Audubon Society, they wanted everything shot 4K. So the company that was producing this video content for them, they wanted everything 4K. It's over at the Concord Museum now. It's a piece on William Brewster. And so any of the footage that I provided, they wanted it all 4K. So for me, everything's going to be 4K moving forward, which does mean, yes, it's going to be more storage space when I get home and I'm downloading and have to back that data up. But I think it's worth it, again, any time moving forward, this year, next year, preceding years, doesn't matter. Everyone's going to be looking for that footage being 4K. A lot of, I think, unfortunately, the HD footage that we're shooting, several years back, that is going to be completely obsolete, but I think in many cases it's not going to be acceptable for a lot of people that are looking to purchase content. Okay, on to shooting the 4K video itself. So I'm shooting 30 frames per second with my 4K footage, and if you look at this particular footage here of this red-winged blackbird, this is straight out of the camera. It is not shot C-Log. There's no color grading. This is straight from the camera. You can see the contrast looks great, sharpness, just the overall quality is really very stunning. I mean, I'm really impressed with how this particular video footage looks coming out of the Canon R3. The incredible thing about this technology now continues to march forward is with this mirrorless systems that are out there now, they've got this animal eye tracking. And so once you line that subject up and that sensor locks onto the eye of the subject, you can pan a little bit with it if it's moving. It's going to stay with the subject. And in the case of, now we're going to take a look at this common grackle, as that grackle moves its head slightly or the cattail sways slightly or whatever the case is, that focus point stays right on the eye of the subject. There's no worry about, do I have that subject in focus? Once it locks on, boy, I wouldn't say it's 100% foolproof, but boy, it's pretty close to it. You've got good lighting conditions. Your distance from where you are to the subject is not too far. It does a really good job of tracking that eye, staying with it, staying on focus, and again, the quality just looks just spectacular. So that's it. Again, just a very short video. Just wanted to show you some of the quality here and just talk a little bit about shooting 4K video with the Canon R3. Thanks for tuning in again. As always, remember, please help protect wildlife and help protect wild places. Cheers. Okay, let's see what we've got around here right now. Red wings, martins. Here comes a martin. Song sparrow behind me. There's a willow flycatcher that's been calling back here. Lots of birds, lots of birds. Love it. Great morning. Thanks for tuning in.